Oh, hey. Didn't see you there.
All right, hello, people.
Hello.
So here we go. Number 1, how do I feel about standardized tests? I do not like standardized tests, or any tests in general, because I just don't. Number 2, do you think that they are a good way to measure students' intelligence? No, I do not, because, first of all, they aren't testing you on your intelligence. They are testing you on different subjects, so people with great intelligence could do bad on the tests, and people with bad intelligence could do great on the tests.
Standardized tests are bad because I have never gotten a good grade on a standardized test. Now, that is not because I'm dumb. That's because standardized tests are only made to build up all your nerves, create anxiety that you never knew you had, so that you forget everything you learned within your whole life, and then you bomb the test. And then it's not a representation of your knowledge at all.
Standardized tests have been debated for years. I personally don't agree with them because I don't think it gives accurate feedback to teachers and administrators about how far along a child is in their education. It also doesn't measure the intelligence of a child because maybe that child had a fight with their parents that morning. Their mind isn't going to be focused on the questions in front of them. It's going to be drawn to maybe things that have happened that morning. Also, standardized testing usually is timed, and I have personally experienced where I get super anxious and nervous because I'm constantly looking at the clock, making sure that I have enough time, and I start to run out and just fill in answers, and I don't do my best.
I think standardized tests are not a very accurate representation of a student's knowledge overall. I think they put a lot of stress on students to perform for only they're only looking at 3 hours or 4 hours of their actual knowledge. A good way to measure students' intelligence, I don't think they're a great way to measure a student's intelligence because you're only in there for a couple hours and that number is attached to you, and it may not be an accurate way to look at a student's overall knowledge.
How do I feel about standardized tests? I don't personally love them. I don't hate them either. I think they're really boring and very long. 2, do I think they accurately measure a student's intelligence? No, because I think everyone has different test-taking abilities, but it doesn't show how smart or how dumb they are. Because you could do really badly on a test but still be really, really smart. You just didn't study, probably.
I do not believe that standardized testing is an accurate measurement of a person's competency for multiple reasons, one of which I read this thing once on the internet, reliable source, that an author of one of the standardized test stories took the test questions for her story, and she did not pass. And that just goes to prove that half of the symbolism in the stories is not actually
I
real
do not
symbolism.
like standardized tests because they take too long and they're extremely boring and you have to be quiet for 6 hours. I I don't think that they measure students' intelligence accurately because some people just get really anxious and don't really care, but they could be really smart. And I have test anxiety, and I usually just try to finish the test just to finish it, and I don't really care about my answers.
I don't like standardized testing at all. I do not think they are a good way to measure a student's intelligence because, for example, for me, I'm awful at math, and because of that, I was always in lower math classes in high school. But because of me being in lower math classes in high school, when we were given the tests such as like the SAT, I scored really, really badly on the math section, and I'm awful at science as well, so I scored awful in the science section too. But science is its own personal thing. Math is just me not being able to comprehend math, so I'd only learned things like basic algebra and basic geometry. So when I had all these questions that were really overwhelming and I had no idea how to use them, I completely flunked that section, and because of that, the only thing I really scored well on was the English part of the SAT, which led to a really low score. And I just don't think it's fair for kids that excel in some parts of schooling and then do badly in others that they aren't going to apply in their life. I don't think it's fair for them to be penalized for that.
When I was applying to colleges, I felt a lot of pressure to get a certain a.c.t. score to get the scholarship that I wanted. Otherwise, I wasn't going to be able to go to the school. And I just felt like it really inaccurately represented my intelligence as a student and how well I was able to perform because it was based on one test that I was taking, like once randomly. And I just felt like I wasn't really prepared for it and it wasn't an accurate representation.
My thoughts on standardized testing, you ask? Well, standardized testing is a good way to measure students besides GPA, but I think the way we go about it is wrong. We drum up the ACT and the SAT way too much when it's just really a test about useless information and our ability to guess.